What's up everyone, David here, and we are here today recording a tier list video actually, and it's gonna be pretty fun. We're doing it for Atlus games, so I have a bunch of games that I picked for this tier list. I want to give a disclaimer. First of all, there's certain Atlus games that aren't in here for sure. Most games that are here are Persona games and Megaton games, and yeah, so it should be a lot of fun. Note that yes, I'm a big Atlus fan, but I haven't played all the games, and just some examples of the games that aren't in this list. Most of them, it's because yes, I haven't played them, and I also don't know anything about them. For example, the Etrian Odyssey games, even if I didn't play them, I also don't know anything about them. While there's certain games in this list that I'm going to be putting in the never played or not beaten category, which it speaks for itself. Never played, I don't want to play them at some point. The games that are excluded, I don't really care for now. So let's jump right into it. It should be a lot of fun. For each game, I'm gonna give my justifications of why I put a game at a certain place, and I'm also going to maybe give a bit of backstory about the game, my story with the game and stuff like that. So yeah, should be really fun. Let's jump right into it. The way that I'm gonna do it is I am going to, just move the mouse around and pick a game while I'm not looking. So okay, so Trauma Center New Blood is our first game. New Blood I played. When it comes to Trauma Center, I played Second Opinion, New Blood, and Under the Knife 1, which means that Trauma Team and Under the Knife 2 I haven't played. New Blood is a really good game. It's been a long time since I played this one, so it's kind of hard to tell. I remember not liking it as much as the two others, and I have an idea of where I want to put those two, especially Second Opinion. So to be honest, New Blood I think is going to be a good C tier for me. Great game, but not as good as the other ones that I played. So unfortunately, can't say much about Trauma Team and Under the Knife 2. Which Under the Knife 2 is actually the only one that I'm missing for my physical Atlus collection, so on the lookout for that. Okay, next up. Oh, now's a game that I really like. So the next game is Radiant Historia. This picture is for the 3DS version of the game. I did play the DS version only, so I don't know what add-in content or modifications or additions that they did to the 3DS version, unfortunately, so I can't tell. But the DS version is a game that I found out while listening to a hidden gem video on YouTube. I don't remember which content creator did it, so I cannot credit him or her, but it's a game that I found because of YouTube, and man, it is a very good game. I highly recommend it. Great RPG. There's some traditional elements in it, but there's also some good differences, and story is great and stuff, so no, definitely a really good game. As most of the Atlus games, it has an amazing soundtrack. So, oh yeah, this one is gonna go in B tier for me. It's definitely up there. Hey, I need to tell that before I keep going. This is my opinion. So for all the games, I'm gonna give my justifications, but it is my opinion. So you might disagree, and if you disagree with certain picks, please don't hesitate to let me know. I know that in the community, I do have a certain number of rather controversial opinions, so please bear with me. It's my opinion, and you definitely have the right to disagree with me. So awesome. So let's keep going. Okay, Shin Megami Tensei Persona. Note that this is the PSP version. There's also revelations here. So Persona PSP, in my opinion, definitely the best way to play the game. I think that's kind of what everyone thinks. Now, as you can hear right now, we're listening to the Japanese version of the game, the PlayStation version, which has a very good soundtrack. Now, the PlayStation Portable version of the game has a very, very average soundtrack. It's not bad. Well, there's certain songs that are bad. Like, I specifically dislike the Battle Team Lone Prayer because the loop is just so short. It comes back once after, and oh man, it gets on my nerve for sure, so that's a minus for it. But great story, great characters. The re-release for the PSP makes the game easier to play nowadays because, let's be honest, Revelations didn't age that well, but we'll talk about that later. So Persona PSP, it's definitely not as good as Radiant Historia. It is better than New Blood, so that's gonna be right here for me. Possibly a controversial take right away with this one, but hey, here we go. Here's another game that I haven't played, Devil Children. I just chose this version of the game. Never played it. There's a lot of Devil Children games that are Japanese exclusive. There might be some fan translations for them. Never played them. Maybe I'll check them out at some point. So yeah. What else should we talk about? Let's go random once again. Okay, Shin Megami Tensei 2 is a game that I never played. Same thing for the first game, actually. So I'm gonna scroll the first game right into that category as well. They're up there on my list of games that I want to play in the near future. So those two I am going to play for sure. They look amazing. I do know a lot about those games, even if I didn't play them. I watched some streamers play the games. I watched videos and stuff, so I do know a lot of things about the games, but I never played those myself. Definitely want to play them. That's why they're on the list. Don't know much about them. I do know that they have amazing soundtracks, of course, and they're the reason why. They're the reason why some of my favorite games of all time exist. So they deserve recognition. They're here. Unfortunately, never played them yet. Strange Journey Redux. That's cool. I'm glad to have this one. At the moment of dropping this video, you got my review very recently, actually, for Strange Journey Redux. The review's over. It's not uploaded yet, but if you're watching this video right now, it is live on the channel. So if you want to check it out, I'll link it right here. Strange Journey Redux was actually my first experience with Strange Journey. Yeah, so unfortunately, original Strange Journey, I never beat it. I do have the game, and once I replay Strange Journey, I'm gonna play the DS version because I want to experience both. Strange Journey, unlike, for example, the Devil Survivor games that I have right here, I decided to add the original game in my tier list as well, because some people say that this is the best way to play the game, and Redux has some negatives that the first game doesn't have. So I don't want to get into this. Once again, check out my review if you want to learn more about the differences between each version, but the original game deserves to be on this list as well. Now for Redux, it is a game that I really liked. Absolutely amazing setting, great soundtrack, it fits perfectly with the game, the atmosphere, everything is like extremely well done. Good old dungeon crawler, first-person dungeon crawler, which I do love for my SMT games. I love the 3D style as well, but I love the dungeons crawlers. The game aged surprisingly well for what it is, for being an old dungeon crawler where the focus is on exploration and stuff. So definitely a good game, great story, great characters, lots of demons to collect. Battle system is just different enough for me to really like it. So no, definitely a very good game. This one is kind of hard, and I'm gonna be honest, I might have to do some modifications during this video because I don't know exactly, because I might change certain things during what I'm thinking. I might compare certain ranks, and I'm like, oh, this deserves to be elsewhere. So yeah, Strange Journey Redux is good B tier for me. Lots of positives. There's some negatives, but mostly positives for this one. So yeah. Great game, highly recommended. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, Nocturne. Nocturne is the foundation for a lot of games that I adore. Nocturne has an amazing soundtrack, a good old story. The press turn combat system is like one of my favorite combat systems of all time. I cannot wait to replay Nocturne once it comes out in the West with Nocturne HD. I've been playing a bit of the Japanese version that I do own. It's great. They fixed most of the issues with the remaster, but the first game is definitely a timeless classic. So for me, it is a good A tier for sure. There's some issues, but once again, there's like a lot of positives for this one. So, and it is the reason why SMT is that popular, other than Persona, which is a spin-off. So we have to give some recognition to Nocturne for sure. Now let's keep going. Ooh, okay. Devil Survivor Overclocked, and that's Devil Survivor as well. I included both on here. I did only play Overclocked once again, but from what I've seen online, Overclocked is considered the best versions by everyone. So Devil Survivor Overclocked, amazing story, very different than other Megaton games. There's a grid-based combat system with a bit of press turn in it as well. Lots of strategy involved in it. I'm a big Fire Emblem fan, so the grid-based was familiar to me, so I adored this one. The characters are so great. They're very likable, very memorable. The story, like, it's basically COVID-19. It's like a worldwide invasion from demons, and it's honestly that great. One of its weak point is probably the soundtrack. The soundtrack is great, but it's definitely not as good as Strange Journey and Nocturne, for example. That being said, this game is it's S tier for me because there's almost everything is done perfectly for this one. It's just that good. And whenever someone asks me what's my favorite SMT game, Megaton game, it's up there, and I can choose between this one and another one, so which I'm not gonna spoil. But hey, Devil Survivor Overclock, if you haven't played it, please do yourself a favor and play it. Again, I need to stress that out. This list is my opinion, so please bear with me if you disagree. Let's keep going. Raidou 1. Strangely enough, I played Raidou 1. I didn't complete it, so I do have my ideas for the game. Great game, amazing soundtrack. I feel like the Raidou games 1 and 2, they're probably the most underrated soundtracks of Megaton as a whole. Like, they're really good. I really like them. Raidou's a very great character. I like how different this game is, being an action RPG. Very fun. I definitely want to get back to it soon. Haven't beat it, but from what I played, it is a game that deserves to be high on the list. I would probably put it right here, right next to Radiant Historia. But I want to say very, very high possibility of this game getting higher on the list once I beat it. Like, I don't think it's gonna go A tier, but it might be here or here. We'll have to wait and see. But for now, it's here. I want to play it in the near future. Raidou 2, never played it, unfortunately. Once I'm done with 1, I'm gonna play it, and it is the same thing with Devil Survivor 2. As much as I liked Devil Survivor 1, I never played 2, so I do want to play 2. Once again, I chose Record Breaker for this list because everyone, or almost everyone, considers this one as the best version of the game. So yeah, let's keep going. Persona 4 dancing. Okay, so the dancing games I played, 4 is definitely the best one for the story mode and stuff. So out of all the dancing games, it is the best one. That being said, I'm definitely not a big rhythm game fan, so I love the soundtrack of all the games, especially 4. And from my experience with the 3 games, I prefer 4 over the others. Once again, not necessarily my type of game, so it has to be a bit lower for this reason. I wouldn't say it's a D tier. It is definitely a C tier. New Blood was great. I enjoyed it personally more than dancing, so yeah. It's probably going to be a controversial take as well, but hey, I'm not the biggest rhythm fan. I gave this game a chance, and I liked it. I mean, you gotta understand that since this is an Atlus tier list, even D is pretty good because Atlus makes quality content. What do you want me to say? So let's keep going. Tokyo Mirage Session. Okay. Sharp FE is the one that I picked because, well, Encore is the version that I picked, the Switch version, because once again, it's considered the definitive edition of the game. This game, the one thing that I always say about this game, I'm sorry if you're a fan of the channel, you definitely know that already, but the one thing that I always say about this game is once you overlook the fact that it was supposed to be SMT cross Fire Emblem, which it definitely isn't, it is a very good game on its own. It is a great game. The combat is top tier. The combat is S tier for sure. Now the story is alright. It's not as bad as people say, in my opinion, but it's not as great as most of the games that are on screen at the moment. So for this reason, I'm not going to be able to put it as high as I would like. But then again, great soundtrack, great story. Yeah, I just said that the story is meh. great soundtrack, great combat, great characters as well. It's just the story is not necessarily my thing. You should definitely play this game though. Now, Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE is a game that I appreciated more than Persona. But does it deserve to be alongside the games that I put on B tier? I think I'm gonna put it top C tier. I think it's gonna. But then again, I haven't beaten Raidou, so I think it belongs in B. Yeah, honestly, if the flaws are minor compared to all the plus that this game has, so it has to go in B tier for me. Honestly, it's that good. Okay, let's keep going. Shin Megami Tensei 9 online game for the Xbox, Japan exclusive. Never played it. I want a copy. I don't have a physical copy of this game. I need a second Xbox game on that Atlus shelf. So, first one being Catherine on the 360. So, I don't know much about the game. I've seen gameplay. I've seen stuff. Soundtrack is good, but never played it. So, let's keep going. Persona 4 Arena, and that's Ultimax because definitive edition of the game. Persona 4 Arena is a very good game. Just like Persona 4 Dancing, I'm not the biggest fighting game fan. I do like Smash Brothers. I liked the Naruto Clash of Ninja games. Some of the Dragon Ball games are great, but I'm not a big hardcore fighting game. So Arc System Works, they're talented, very good studio, and they made something amazing with Persona 4 Arena. I'm fully aware of that. Great soundtrack. There's a story mode, and it's pretty good actually for a fighting game. So it deserves a lot of credit for that. The gameplay is just not my thing once again, but this game deserves praise. Since this list is just my opinion, I think it has to go right here. I think right here's a good spot for it. I enjoyed it more than Dancing and New Blood, but I enjoyed Persona and PSP more for various different reasons. So yeah, but honestly, if I were a fighting fan, it would probably be higher than this. So let's keep going. Okay, Persona 5 Royal. Okay, cool. I'm glad that we have P5 now. Okay, so I have Vanilla P5 here, and I also have Royal. I don't think that's gonna be necessary personally. Royal's the definitive edition of the game. Most people agree on this front. People that don't, they say it's because Royal's too easy. Now there's difficulty modes, which you can increase the difficulty if you want. So I'm going to be putting P5 here. I play the game. It's just that I'm going to use Royal for this countdown. Now, one of the controversial opinions that I do have in the community, I'm someone who played all the Persona games. And my favorite one is Persona 5. That's definitely a hot take. Not everyone would agree on this one. But I feel like just Persona 5 is such a great package overall. I mean, I love the characters. I adored the story. There's pacing issues, but other than that, the first time that I played the game, it was a really good experience. The dungeons are a lot of fun. In 4 and 3, they're so definitely a big upgrade on that front. The soundtrack is one of my favorites as well. So, hey, maybe it's a controversial opinion, but Persona 5 Royal belongs in S tier for me. It is that good. Again, my opinion. So, you have the right to disagree. Let's keep going. Shin Megami Tensei Imagine, online MMORPG for Shin Megami Tensei. Never played it, and I don't know much about it either, so I can't say much. As you can see, D tier is not very popular when it comes to Atlus and tierlist, so that's pretty cool. Let's keep going. Shin Megami Tensei If. SMT If is just like SMT 1 and 2, a game that I really want to play. Like, If is quite possibly the next old school SMT game that I'm going to be playing. So it looks amazing. Unfortunately, I never played it, so I can't say much other than the game has an amazing soundtrack. Definitely a top tier soundtrack for Megaton games. Trauma Center Under the Knife. Trauma Center Under the Knife is my first experience with Trauma Center. I adored it. I got the game not that long after I got my DS, so it was a fun experience. It utilized the stylus very well. Great story, great characters, great music. A lot of good things about this game. I feel like not enough people talk about it. And the biggest issue that I have with Trauma Center as a series is that Atlus doesn't give this series the recognition that it deserves. I feel like this game would do so well on the Switch. I've been thinking of maybe creating a video about should Trauma Center come back. If you guys are interested, please let me know so I think I would have a lot to say about this actually. So Trauma Center Under the Knife, it is just like Second Opinion, an amazing game. I have to put this one in B tier for me, and I think it belongs here. I think it belongs right after Strange Journey Redux. It is a very good game. It's kind of hard to compare them because they're so different, but since it's an Atlus tier list, I'm doing my best to compare them. Amazing game. Highly recommended. I talked a bit about Second Opinion, so I'm gonna rank it right now. It's also a B tier game for me. This one's on the Wii. I was not the biggest Wii fan, so maybe that caused issues with my experience of the game. But looking back on it, it's still a very good game with great characters. The gameplay is just a ton of fun, even using the Wiimote. So it just works. It just works with motion controls. I think it belongs here. I think it belongs here. I don't feel really comfortable with Persona PSP being in C tier anymore, to be honest. I think I have to raise it here. It's gonna be low rank of the B tier, but it's gonna be B tier because I keep looking at it and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with it. So B tier for Persona, definitely. There's lots of fun to be had with this one. Let's keep going. Oh, okay. Brace yourselves. Persona 3 Portable. You know what? I'm gonna rank all the 3 Persona games right now. We're gonna get this out of the way. Now, I added the 3 versions of the game, and I'm gonna start with original Persona 3. Persona 3 is not a bad game. It is just... Let me think this through. There's a ton of issues with Persona 3 in my opinion. Even if it's a game that I played very early, I replayed it recently and it's... I don't know, the story just doesn't click for me necessarily. The pacing of it all is just weird. It doesn't really work. Tartarus is just a pain in the ass. When I play the game, I'm like, I'm not having fun. It's not fun for me. The cast of characters is probably the best in all of the Persona games, so that's a good for Persona 3 for sure. The soundtrack is one of the weaker soundtracks when it comes to Persona as a whole, in my opinion. So Persona 3, the one that I have right now, is the lesser version in my opinion. There's not the FES content nor the pure portable content, so for this reason it's gonna have to go in C tier. That's top C tier though. I prefer Persona Portable, the Shin Megami Tensei Persona, the first Persona game on PSP. If I were to play both games at the moment, I would have more fun with Persona on PSP than Persona 3, the first one on the PS2. Now, this is when we get a bit controversial here. FES, there's additional content. They reworked some stuff. It's just a bit better than the original Persona. Yes, I'm putting this one lower than the games that you see on B tier. Again, I'm not the biggest Persona fan. That being said, Portable it has a formula that I really liked. The cutscenes are not in the game anymore. For me, that wasn't necessarily a problem. I love visual novels. I'm a big fan of this genre. So the ability to play Persona 3 portably was a massive appeal for me. I do remember when I got the game, I was like, wow, that's cool. I can play it portably. I didn't mind the cutscenes that were not in the game anymore. I didn't mind the FES content that wasn't there anymore. Because the additional story content in FES is alright. It's not something that I missed necessarily when playing Portable. Portable made me love Persona 3 way more than I used to after playing the first 2 versions. It belongs I'm gonna put it right here. In my opinion, it is between Under the Knife and Strange Journey. I'm having more fun. I feel like it's a quicker game. You play through it quicker. There's still the issues that I have with Persona 3 as a whole are still there. But again, there's a lot of good out of Persona 3. Don't get me wrong. The ending is strong. The cast of characters is amazing and stuff. It's just not as good as the other games in the series, in my opinion. So, yeah. Let's keep going. Demi Kids, I'm gonna rank both. Disclaimer, I only played the dark version of the game through emulation because for whatever reason, Demi Kids is like worth $200 or some dollar on Game Boy Advance, so I'm not buying a physical complete copy anytime soon. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't like the game. I just don't. The one thing that I love about it is the art style. I love the art style. They made it more childish. I feel like it looks better than Persona Q, which also looks kind of childish. It looks good, but that's pretty much it. The story is cringy at times. The combat is alright. It's alright. It's similar to Pokemon, but with Megaton elements, so it's definitely not terrible, but it's not that great either. So it's an okay game. Definitely not a game that I enjoyed as much as some of the lower ranked game in C tier. So for me, Demi Kids has to go in D tier, unfortunately. That hurts me because before I played Demi Kids, I think I played it in 2019. I was highly looking forward to playing this one. That's the reason why I played it before a bunch of games that I should have played before. Like Strange Journey, for example. I was really disappointed when I played it. And I did a Megaton break after playing like 15 hours of this one. So it belongs lower on my list for sure for this reason. Oh, light version I didn't play though, but it's kind of like Pokemon. There's two versions with different demons and minor changes between both versions. Nothing too major. Maken X. Maken X is a game on the Dreamcast that I very much want to play. I really want to play this one, actually. I don't own a Dreamcast. There's probably other methods that I could play it. I want to play it at some point. The game looked very interesting to me. Great art, great music. So I want to play it at some point. Never played it yet, unfortunately. Let's keep going. Digital Devil Saga 2 is a game that I haven't played. DDS1 I played, not DDS2. So DDS2, since it's a sequel to DDS1, but also in the story department, the ending of DDS makes you hanging. So you want to know more. You want to know what's going to happen next. So DDS2 is definitely a game that I'm going to be playing in the near future. It might even be next on my list. Shin Megami Tensei IV Apocalypse is the game that I'm playing at the moment. I am 10 hours in at the moment of recording this video, and I'm enjoying it a lot. There's problems that have been explained to me about the game from various different persons in the community, and for now, 10 hours in, I think I'm gonna like Apocalypse more than most people in the community, but I don't know where it's gonna stand once I'm done with it. For now, I really like it though, so let's keep going. Q2, never played it. Same for Q. Persona Q and Q2, they're basically Etrian Odyssey clones, but with Persona characters. I kind of like the art style. It's all right. Great soundtrack for both games. I didn't have the time to play them when they launched, and I have other things that I want to play before them, so I'll get around to playing them at some point. I heard good things, so I don't think those are the best games of all time, but I heard good things, so I'm definitely going to play them at some point. Okay, let's keep going. Next up is Shin Megami Tensei DX2. That's the mobile game. DX2 I played a bit of it. I don't know how many hours I played, but I did play a bit of it. I've been playing the game for a long time actually, but I'm not playing it hardcore. Like, I don't play it every day. It's just sometimes when I just have completely nothing to do and I don't feel like playing on console or anything, I'm just gonna take out my phone, and DX2 is the only game that I have on my phone, and that I had on my phone for the longest time. So open loot and get new demons stuff, it's great. The story's kind of cringe, but the combat is fun. It's the press-turn combat system. I love to look at the demon models. The models in the X2 are great. So great game. I don't have a lot of sentiment towards it, honestly. If they were to stop creating content for the game and they would take it off my hands tomorrow, I wouldn't mind that much. So it's an okay game. It's definitely okay. I think it's gonna be a D tier game for me, but it's better than Demi Kids. At least I had more fun with it than Demi Kids, so it belongs there definitely. It's not. I don't have any negative feeling necessarily towards it, but I don't necessarily care for it either. I don't love it per se, so this is where it belongs. Let's keep going. Oh, I have Golden. I'm gonna put Persona 4 here because I'm gonna be talking about Golden. Well, let's do Golden since I picked it. Persona 4 Golden, we're streaming the game on the channel at the moment, and it's a ton of fun. It is. I played Persona 4 on the PS2 back in the day. I played Golden on Vita, and I'm currently playing through the Golden once again on Steam. Persona 4 Golden is a game that aged very well. Hot take incoming. Everything that Persona 3 did wrong, Persona 4 did well. The dungeons are more fun, easily more fun. The soundtrack is way better, in my opinion. I like the story way more as well than Persona 3. It was just an increase. It was just a better experience in every single way, in my opinion. So Persona 4 Golden is a game that I really liked. Golden had a bunch of additions that I personally liked, which makes me prefer Golden over the original game. That's the consensus for most people. So Golden for me is up there. Is it better than Nocturne? I don't know if it's a better game than Nocturne, but I'm gonna say I'm having more fun with Golden than Nocturne. But that might change once the remaster comes out. Those games are close, dude. I feel like in my heart they're at the same place. I can't put them on the same square, but they're up there. Amazing games for both. I love Inaba. The setting of Inaba, the city of Inaba is great. The characters are very good as well. Some of my favorite characters of all time are in there, so amazing game. Let's keep going. Odin Sphere. Odin Sphere is a game that I've wanted to play for the longest time. I strangely put it on the list, but I still don't know much about it, unfortunately. I just know that I want to play it, and I own the game now, so I'm gonna play it at some point. Maybe I should play the PS4 re-release. I think it looks great, so we'll see. We'll see. Let's keep going. Persona 2. I'm gonna put Persona 2 and Innocence, Eternal Punishment and Innocence Sin together for this one. Now, Persona 2 is kind of like Persona 2 to Persona 1 is kind of like Persona 4 to Persona 3 in my opinion. They improved over everything from Persona 1. The gameplay was more fun, was more fluid, the story was better. Persona 2, no, I think I said the Persona 3 cast is probably one of the best cast in the series, but Persona 2's cast is, it's up there as well. Once again, probably on the same square when it comes to the cast of characters. But in Persona 2, the soundtrack's better, the story's better, and the gameplay, for me, is just a ton of fun. I adore it. Persona 2 is a game that surprisingly aged very well, in my opinion. I love how you explore dungeons, I love the combat, I love everything about it. Persona 2 is a good A tier game for me. It's that great. It is that great. It's kind of weird. I like to see that I prefer Megaton over Persona, but there's a lot of Persona games that are very high. It's probably because some of my favorite Megaton games are like so high for me when it comes to my feelings towards the game. So let's keep going. Dragon's Crown. Okay, Dragon's Crown is an interesting game. Is it a game that I wasn't? Is a game that I was looking forward to before release. Game by Vanillaware, so of course the soundtrack is good. Of course the art style is amazing. Is a good old 10 out of 10. The gameplay, the beat 'em up gameplay style is not necessarily my thing. Everything around it though is great. So for this reason, I'm going to put the game in C tier. Though I think if you're a, it's gonna belong here. if you are a beat 'em ups fan, I'm sure you'll adore this one though. I'm sure it's great in the genre. Just like Persona 4, Arena, Dancing, and Dragon's Crown, those three are in the same category. I feel bad putting them where they are because I look at them, I play them, and I know that they're quality products. They're just not my type of genre, so they need to get a lower rank because at the end of the day, this tier list is my opinion. So, but hey, still a good game. Last Bible is a game that I played for 2 minutes on the Sega Game Gear Mini. But I did a video on Last Bible, so I did my research on the game. I know a lot about the story and stuff. I don't know anything about Last Bible Special. I don't know anything about Last Bible 2 and stuff, so heard various things about it. Last Bible, though, looks pretty interesting. I'm sure it's not a game that would rank that high on my list, but at some point, I'm probably going to play it through fan translations, or I'm gonna play Revelations: The Demon Slayer on the Game Boy at some point. So I don't have much to say about this one. There's a bunch of games that aren't on this list: Digital Devil Story, Megami Tensei, Gaiden. As I said, most games I didn't play are not here. Yeah, there's a lot of Atlus games that aren't on this list that I just don't know anything about them, so I decided to skip them. Persona 5 Strikers, strangely, is on this list. I just added one folder of box arts that I have, so it is up there. It's not released yet, so of course I can't rank it, but unlike some of my content creator friends, I didn't play the full version of the game. I didn't import the Japanese version of the game because I could simply wait. Now, that being said, I've heard a ton of good things about this one. I already know that the gameplay is going to be fun because I played the demo multiple times, and I already know that the soundtrack is a top tier, so I'm sure this game's going to be high on the list. Don't know much about it yet. I can't wait to play it in less than a month, actually, so yeah, pretty cool. Let's keep going. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Another vanillaware game. I'm glad that this game is on the list. I just want to quickly say, I forgot to put Muramasa on the list. The game's on Wii, the game's on Vita as well. I want to get the physical version of Muramasa Rebirth on the Vita. I don't have it yet, so I haven't played it yet, but it's a game that I'm looking forward to playing. Okay, let's get back to 13 Sentinels now. 13 Sentinels, just like Dragon's Crown, it is a vanillaware game. It has an amazing art style. The game is very, very, very beautiful. One of the best looking PS4 game in my opinion, art style wise. This game for me did the impossible. It's a game that I wanted to play because it's a vanillaware game. But before I started to play it, there was a lot of things that I was uncertain about. 13 characters, 13 playable characters in my head. Before I started playing it, I was like, they're gonna be bland characters that I'm not gonna love at all. But boy, I was extremely wrong. All the characters in this game are memorable and a ton of fun. I adore them, and they're extremely memorable. I remember precisely all of their stories. It's a fantastic experience. The gameplay surprised me as well. Before trying the game, I knew that it was a visual novel in its story department, so I was glad and I was hyped because I love my visual novels. But the combat was RTS, real-time strategy, and I'm not a big fan of this genre, so I was like, oh boy, is it gonna end up on C tier as well because of the combat? Far from it. The combat ended up being pretty addictive to me. I think it's a RTS combat system that's not too complicated, so I was able to jump into it. It doesn't take too much of your time while playing the game either, so it was great. There's a lot of things that they could have done to make it better in my opinion, but it was still a lot of fun. And the story in 13 Sentinels, once again, they were able to do the impossible. It's a time-traveling, multiple dimensions game, and it just works, and it's just a ton of fun. So, oh my god, 13 Sentinels is a good A tier. It's a good A tier for me easily. It is my 2020 game of the year. It is that good. Not a lot of people played the game. I did review the game, so if you're interested, I'll link it right here. You guys can check it out, but if you skip this game and what you just heard me say seems just a tiny bit interesting to you, please give it a chance. It is a very, 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 very good game. I'm done with 13 Sentinels. Let's keep going. Okay, Digital Devil Saga. So Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga. Okay. Now this one, I love how different the setting is. That's one of the things that struck me right away when I started to play the game. You're the leader of a tribe and you're very close to some of your friends in your tribe and you have to fight. You're actually in a war against other tribes. Setting is dope. Characters are great and memorable. Lots of funny moments in the game as well. Classic, good old press and combat system that I adore. The story was surprisingly very, very good. It definitely took me by surprise. I was like, oh boy, I didn't know that this would head that way. So a lot of fun. There's some weird difficulty spikes in this one. But overall, a pretty well balanced game. Yes, you do have to grind a bit, but I like that, so it's not a problem. Fantastic soundtrack for Digital Devil Saga. So honestly, again, if you didn't play it, you should, because it's a very good game. Digital Devil Saga for me is A tier. That's crazy. This tier list is not easy to do, but Digital Devil Saga is. I can't wait to play the second game. Honestly, I have it right here, and I'm gonna be playing it really soon. Like, once I'm done with Apocalypse, I'm gonna play Strikers, and then before Nocturne HD comes out, Digital Devil Saga 2 is gonna be next for sure. So DDS1, yeah, I only have good things to say about it. It's doing a lot of things right. I'm gonna say it. It's doing everything right. Not everything is done fantastically and is extremely surprising, but everything that it's doing, the game's doing very well. So for this reason, it belongs there for sure. I wish I played this one before, definitely. Let's keep going. SMT If. I talked about it before when I talked about SMT 1 and 2, didn't I? Yeah, I think I did. Like, SMT If is the next old school Megaton game that I want to get around to playing. Just like SMT1, it is a game that I'm going to play in the near future. Historia seems very interesting. I watched March's video on the game. March is an amazing Megaton content creator, by the way. I'm going to link his channel right here. You guys go check him out. He's great and very informative dude, so great content for March. I especially loved his SMT If video and the one about the Akira chapter. So overall, this game looks fantastic. Everything that I've heard about the story seems a lot of fun. Gameplay wise, seems unforgiving, but as a Megaton fan, I'm ready. Soundtrack though, yeah, soundtrack, I don't have anything to say. It's amazing, just as almost all the games on this list. So yeah, let's keep going. Okay, Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing. I said a lot about the dancing games when talking about P4 dancing. As I said, I don't like Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing as much as Persona 4 dancing. Graphics are cool, I like the idea, but the story, if you can say that for those games, is very, very disappointing. It's below average. The only thing that I like about those games is the soundtrack. The songs are great. I like the remixes. It's gonna belong before Demi Kids. For whatever reason, I almost hate Demi Kids. It's just so boring to me, and I'd rather play Persona 3 and Persona 5 dancing. But those games are far from amazing, so I would have more fun playing DX2, so that's why they're here. Let's keep going. Revelations Persona. Revelations Persona is different enough from Persona on PSP that I wanted to include it on this list. Revelations Persona I played, but I didn't complete the game. I completed the PSP version, but not Revelations. I didn't play the PS1 version back in the day because I was almost born at the same time that this game released, so of course I was not going to play this one. But I did play it on the PlayStation Classic once it released a few years ago. And this game aged terribly. The good thing about this one, amazing soundtrack, but it really aged in a bad way. Overall, I know that it still has a very good story because it's Persona 1, so it's gonna have to go at the end of C tier. It doesn't belong next to those games in D tier, but it's great, and that's why Persona. I honestly, I really feel better about putting Persona 1 in B tier. It just, yeah, it feels more right to me. So yeah, let's keep going. Snowboard Kids 2. Snowboard Kids 2 is probably the first Atlus game that I played. Like, quite possibly when we were younger. One of my friends had an X64. And, I mean, we played a bunch of it. He, for whatever reason, had this game. We were big skiing fans and snowboarding fans growing up. Still am to this day. I actually went skiing this morning, which is a very, very weird coincidence. But this game is a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with my friends playing it. Is it the best game of all time? Nah, but the feelings that I have towards this game is all nostalgia. And it's an Atlus game on X64, so how can you hate it? Honestly, it's fun, and for nostalgia purposes, it has to be at the top of B tier for me. Because I have good memories, but I know it's not that great of a game, so yeah. I'm gonna be fair and put it in D tier. I don't want to put it higher than some games that are in C tier that are, in my opinion, more quality. So, yeah. Let's keep going. Oh, Catherine. Catherine, I did play full body. Played Catherine, the original on PS3 when it came out. And I own way too many versions of Catherine. I own Catherine on PS3, 360, full body on PS4. I actually have the premium collector's edition. I also have the steelbook edition on PS4. I bought the Switch version. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't have the big collector's PS3 game, version of the game, at least, so that's that. But Catherine is an amazing game. One of the best Atlus soundtracks of all time, in my opinion. Very good story. Not the biggest puzzle game fan in the world, but there's certain puzzle games here and there that I love. Catherine is my favorite puzzle game of all time, so I feel like the puzzles are a ton of fun in Catherine. But all the characters are likable, and it was an experience that was very different for me. So, hey, Catherine, I'm holding this game very dear to my heart. It's very good, and just like 13 Sentinels, please don't underestimate it, because it's very good, and everyone in the community is gonna say that to you. I don't know anyone who thinks Catherine's trash. The only persons that I know who have issues with Catherine is people that can't, they just can't with the gameplay, and I can't blame them. But just for the story, just for the music and the characters, I feel like the game's worth playing. So, yeah. Catherine, easy A tier for me. I feel like the games that are before Catherine in A tier, they belong there. But Catherine is a good old A tier for me, for sure. Let's go with Soul Hackers. So, Devil Summoner Soul Hackers next. I played the English game, so I did play the 3DS version, not the Sega Saturn version. The Devil Summoner games, I can't wait until we finally get that fans translation of the first Devil Summoner game, because I want to play it. The PSP version is being translated at the moment. Of course, I'm going to play it once it's available. The translation looks amazing, by the way. So, yeah, highly looking forward to this one. But Soul Hackers took me by surprise, even way more than Digital Devil Saga. Soul Hackers, in my opinion, is... Oh, that's also a hot take, but out of all the first-person dungeon crawler SMT games that I played, it's my favorite one. I love the story so much. It's very different, and I love when things are different, and they go out of the way to try something new. And Soul Hackers is just that. The soundtrack is amazing. The characters are fantastic. Like, some of my favorite characters in all of Megaton. It's really good. The combat is fun. That's also a hot take. I liked the personality system for the demons, where you gotta keep your demon in love with you. Your demon has to love you if you want your demon to stay with you, and that's something that I love. So I only have good things to say about Soul Hackers. It is that great. And man, it's gonna have to be this high on my list. I'm sure that's gonna surprise a bunch of you, but it's just that good. I don't think it's better than Nocturne, and I don't think it's better than Persona 4, nor the S tier games, but it's very good. So definitely one of the more overlooked Shin Megami Tensei games. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Do yourselves a favor at the end of the day. You're responsible for the games that you play, so... If you liked, for example, Strange Journey, I feel like Soul Hackers is a better version of Strange Journey in certain ways. That's, again, it's an opinion that we don't hear often. I'm one of the biggest Soul Hackers fans, I think, but it's a very good game. I highly liked it. My final game is Shin Megami Tensei 4. SMT IV introduced me to mainline, and I'm forever going to be grateful for that, because I do enjoy mainline more than Persona, actually, believe it or not, even with this list. So it's amazing. The characters are very good. I rarely replay my video games, and I played SMT IV like 4 times. All the endings are dope. The combat is the best SMT combat ever, in my opinion. The characters, I recently learned that some people don't really like the cast of characters in 4, and that kind of shocked me. I'm a big fan of the cast of characters in SMT 4, so for me, SMT 4 is my favorite Atlus game of all time. It's hard for me. I know that I did a video recently, a collaboration video with a bunch of content creators on the channel. There's 2 parts to this video. It is a video called What Got Us Into SMT, and I know that I mentioned Devil Survivor, Overclocked as my favorite Megaton games, but I replayed SMT 4 for the 4th time after making this video, and I gotta say, no, I think I'm having even more fun with SMT 4 than Devil Survivor. So for this reason, I'm gonna put it here. So guys, that is my tier list for Atlus games. I'm looking at it right now. I think it looks pretty good. Definitely a lot of hot takes in this one. I think we're gonna have a lot of very fun conversation in the comment sections below. So guys, I want to hear your thoughts. And you guys go ahead. You have my authorization. Just go ahead and tell me how crazy I am. This is all about opinion, and I'm very curious. I want to hear you guys' opinions on Atlus games. Which game do you agree with me? Which game do you disagree? And let's talk about it. Making this tier list wasn't my ideas. It was you guys' ideas. So thank you so much for the idea. It ended up being way more fun than I anticipated. So that was a bunch of fun. Once I played a lot of the games that I still need to play, I'm gonna do this list once again, but that's gonna be in multiple years, like in 2 or 3 years. Please give me some time. But all I'm playing is Atlus games nowadays, so it shouldn't be that long either. So, but there's a lot of games that I want to play. So, hey, let's wrap this up. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, if you love that Atlus content, everything about Shin Megami Tensei, Persona, Atlus in general, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that little bell icon. And if you liked this video, a thumbs up helps a lot. So thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time.